Get out of here now, Tracy, now!
Hey, you forgot the power glove!
Man, between Freddy Krueger and Lucas from The Wizard, the spokespeople for the Nintendo Power Glove sure have a questionable history around little children. Jesse Shade here for Awfully Good Movies on behalf of the JoBlo YouTube network. And back in 1991, I was merely a year old when we were forced to say farewell to a beloved Freddy. No, not Freddie Mercury, though that was sad too. I'm talking about Freddy Krueger of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. A man who loomed large over his fellow slashers of the 80s horror movie scene. After all, neither Jason or Michael could claim to have a hit rap song, a hit TV show, a hit NES game, and a guest appearance on a Japanese variety comedy show, all within the same decade. So when Robert Englund decided to finally hang up the bladed glove for good, or at least for the time being, he decided to do so in epic fashion with the final Nightmare. I'm sorry, I meant epically stupid fashion, as our Awfully Good horror expert Tyler Nichols will gladly tell you all about in this stream mastering episode of Awfully Good Movies.
While the remake may have taken the crown nowadays,
ooh, sounds like fun.
There was another entry in the Nightmare on Elm Street film series that was often regarded as the worst. With appearances from Tom Arnold and Roseanne, a ridiculous Wicked Witch parody, and using Nintendo's Power Glove for murder, there's just so much to choose from here.
What do you know? I beat my high score.
So join us today as we look at how awfully good is Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare.
Oh, yeah. Great to be back in business.
It's pretty ballsy to try to end your biggest franchise. That'd be like Disney saying, hey, we've had enough MCU entries and are just going to be ending it cold turkey. It'd be leaving money on the table. But Bob Shea and New Line didn't think like that. Despite being known as the house that Freddy built, due to the success of their other franchises, they felt that they could move on from the Springwood slasher. Look, I'm as big of a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Critters as the next, but these didn't exactly come across as sure things. I guess they just had more faith in House Party than I ever did. But this brashness meant that they were able to lean into the death of Freddy Krueger, a surefire marketing hit. Let's break down what made this just so awful. Because Freddy's Dead gets off to an absurd start right from the jump, with alt rock being played over a Friedrich Nietzsche quote. Because that's what I think of when I think of Freddy Krueger, a 19th century philosopher. At least the quote is kinda cool, which maybe would have been classy had it not been followed up with this. Ah yes, we're firmly back in the schlocky category. As dumb as the movie can get, it does have some cool ideas.
He's going to make you help him, because you're the last.
We know just from that Freddy's going to need to connect to other teens through this guy, or else we don't have a plot. This line sets up the entire film and doesn't feel like insane exposition because it combines the information with a nightmare moment of a child speaking creepily into the camera. And I love this whole exchange.
Fred Heights, don't be a pussy.
And then she just gets ejected from the plane. Shows the sick sense of humor that Freddy has. And I actually don't mind, as the effects work is pretty fun here. I miss these kinds of composites. Look how great they are. I love the look of the house falling down onto Springwood. It has so much more impact than a fully CGI creation. Plus, the follow-up with Freddy trying to poke his way into the real world, it's a neat effect. And as much as can be said about the tone and the script, Rachel Talalay still brought some interesting ideas and executed them well on a technical level. There's just a lot of this. And plenty is said of Freddy as the Wicked Witch of the West.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little soul too.
And the reason they were able to do this is because Wizard of Oz hit the public domain in 1956. But that was for the book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. This is very clearly parodying the Judy Garland movie, which was still firmly owned by MGM. It seems so close that I wonder just how many lawyers got involved here. It's a moment that everyone remembers for its absurdity, but it does fall in line with the Freddy Krueger that's been established in the series. He just likes to fuck with people. I also have to bring up something that, while not in every Elm Street, is always something to point out when it happens. The Bob Shay cameo. During any series rewatches, take a drink whenever a Shay family member makes an appearance. They sure do love their screen time. The whole crux of Freddy's Dead is that Freddy needs John Doe to go out into the real world and get him some more victims. I know the perfect place, a recovery house. And these troubled kids are apparently such a problem that they have a security guard and are kept in a gated building. What in the world? Why is this like a prison? The logic of this always cracks me up, and inside may just be the most annoying group in any Elm Street film. We've got Tracy, Carlos, and Spencer, and they're all varying degrees of obnoxious.
Carlos! I asked you for the map!
Tracy is just mean 90% of the time, and comes across like she thinks she's better than everyone else. She clearly had some childhood trauma that haunts her, and she takes it out on everyone around her.
Yeah, well, the map says we're fucked!
Carlos is loud and obnoxious, ironic given the fact that he can't hear very well. He's got this dumb, wide-eyed look on his face the whole time.
No more running away, no more setting his cars on fire.
Spencer is a stoner with a pretty weird relationship with his dad.
All he wants me to do now is grow up to be him, an exact copy. Frankly, I don't feel like playing football and date-raping co-eds.
And despite the fact that he's always smoking weed, he doesn't really act like a typical stoner. But if there's one thing that Freddy's Dead has going for it, it would be the memorable deaths, which is really what we're showing up for in an Elm Street movie. There's just a certain degree of creativity present due to the nightmare element, and Freddy is fully able to take advantage of his victims' fears here. He takes away Carlos's hearing aid, only to give it back in that classic monkey's paw way, with every single sound being so severe that it eventually explodes his head. Now, remember I said memorable deaths and not good deaths, because the Power Glove death is over the top and absurd, but it is hilarious to see a kid's toy to be used in such murderous fashion. And it brings even more questions about the rules of Elm Street in regards to what's possible in and out of the dream world, because we've got Spencer bouncing around like he's a kangaroo. Sure, you could say that they're dreaming the whole time that they're in Springwood, but it just further muddies the waters. Because Maggie definitely sees Spencer fall through the floor, and then she wakes up the others. So it would seem like she was awake for that. Then when John Doe falls asleep in the van later, Maggie and Tracy see him fly out the roof, despite being awake themselves. I don't know, I'm just trying to make sense of something that I don't think they ever even really thought out thoroughly. But that does lead me to John Doe's death, because it's when Freddy goes full Bugs Bunny and it's fantastic. He's just cackling like a madman as John drops from the sky. I've never heard such maniacal laughing before. And the death itself, with Freddy pushing out a bed of spikes like he's straight out of Looney Tunes. And it always cracks me up that Maggie's screaming out, when that's not even his name. They call him John Doe because that's the designation for people who don't know who they are. So imagine in your final moments, someone is just screaming out someone else's name on top of you. Oh, poor guy. And despite them making it seem like John Doe could have been Krueger's kid, well, the big twist is that it's actually Maggie. But it doesn't even really feel like a twist, as it's so heavily hinted at throughout the movie that most people should have already figured that out by this point. Combined with the little girl that John Doe follows around, oof, that sentence sounds bad. And I love Freddy's whole motivations during this film. He makes it seem like he's doing this as some self-righteous act where he's punishing the residents of Springwood for taking his daughter from him. You know, only forgetting the fact that he likes to kill people, and that's why they took his daughter away. It's that twisted bad guy logic. He was beaten as a kid by Alice Cooper in a bad wig. You leave Connor O'Malley alone.
I am so worried about this video.
As far as who else shows up in this film, there's a brief cameo from Johnny Depp on the TV, and quite possibly the strangest appearance in film history, with Tom Arnold and Roseanne. They're credited in the film as childless man and childless woman, and only wanted to show up because apparently they were fans of the franchise. It's such a quick moment, but it's hard not to be taken out of the film a bit when it happens. I love me some Yaphet Kotto, but he is sadly very underutilized in the narrative. He gets a major moment towards the end, but otherwise he just seems to be exposition man, as he gives us some insight into Freddy and his dream demons. Oh, what are dream demons, you say? Well, they apparently didn't think there was enough reason behind Freddy being able to haunt people in their nightmares, so they had to bring in these little flying monstrosities. They came to Freddy and offered this vast power if he would become their agent. We get a nice appearance of them during the finale, where Maggie blows Freddy up with a pipe bomb. Because that's something that's totally accessible at a recovery house, and it may just be the most abrupt ending possible.
Freddy's dead.
And what the hell did Tracy do to deserve her spot in the final three? Yaphet Kotto and Freddy's daughter I get, but this mean lady? Boo. The 3D gimmick is really just utilized in the finale, and it's got every gimmick that you can imagine, with so much stuff flying at the screen. But hey, at least we get whatever the hell this is out of it.
Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
And I know it happened earlier in the film, but can we talk about whatever the hell is on this board? Because this just brings up a whole slew of questions in regards to Freddy's history, because it seems like they're saying he has something to do with all of these events, and it confuses me to no end. So let's break down this timeline. Year 0, he has come. I think this is about Jesus, but I guess Freddy is saying that his dream form was born in 0 as well? Huh. 1066, align with the Saxons. Okay then. 1492, sailed the ocean blue. I guess we can assume that he's traveling with Columbus then. 1869, Freddy kills Marie. Huh. I'm not entirely sure on this one, but there was someone named Mary Ward that was the first death by automobile. Is Freddy taking credit for this? 1929, the crash. Apparently Freddy crashed the stock market. 1933, Munich sighting. Not shocked that Freddy was dealing with Hitler. 1945, Hiroshima and Nagasaki attempt fail. Huh, well, this is concerning. 1966, child taken. Well, this is when Freddy's daughter Catherine was taken after Freddy killed the mother, so I guess we know that one. 1977, Freddy kills Elvis? Question mark? Huh, okay then. I need to know more about this fucking board. With all this in mind, we're dropping our old system and doing things a bit different. So we're going to give Freddy's Dead an awfully good rating of a B for barely coherent yet hilarious in its absurdity. While Freddy's Dead certainly isn't a good movie, it's got plenty of entertaining moments. The filmmaking on display is impressive, with its fun utilization of the 3D gimmick and Freddy giving us some all-time lines.
Every town has an Elm Streets.
Freddy's Dead is the kind of awfully good that bad movies wish they could be. And remember,
Nice hearing from you, Carlos.
It's awfully good. It's awfully good.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.